Something in your life is going to break in the next 90 days. A tire, a tooth, a phone screen, a check engine light that turns into an $800 afternoon. It always happens, and it never asks if it's a good time. Here's the scary part. Right now, 59% of people can't cover a $1,000 surprise without reaching for a credit card. 59% and 27%, more than 1 in 4, have literally zero saved for it. So when life breaks, they borrow, and the borrowing is what actually keeps them broke. Today, I'm going to get you out of that 59%, and it comes down to one number, one account, and 30 days. And no, the number is not 3 to 6 months of expenses. That advice is exactly why you've never started. Let me show you the real first target, and let's clear up the biggest lie first, because it's the one keeping you stuck. You've been told the problem is your income, that if you just made a little more, everything would be fine. But you already know people who make more than you and are just as broke. The real problem isn't how much comes in. It's that there's nothing standing between you and the next surprise. No cushion, no buffer. So every time life hits, it hits your bare wallet. That's not an income problem, that's a buffer problem, and a buffer has a price tag. Watch what happens without one. Your car won't start on a Monday, you don't have $400, so you do what 59% of people do. You pull out a credit card or you click 4 easy payments. Bankrate says 43% of people would have to borrow to cover a $1,000 emergency, and a quarter of them reach straight for a credit card. It feels like you solved the problem. You didn't. You just rented a solution at 20-something% interest. And here's where the trap snaps shut. That $400 repair is now a $400 balance growing in the dark. Next month, a different thing breaks and you borrow again. Now you've got 2 payments, then 3, and a chunk of every paycheck is going to pay for problems you already forgot about. This is the loop. It's not that emergencies are rare, it's that you're funding every one of them with debt. And the debt is the thing that actually keeps you poor. The emergency fund exists to break this exact loop. So how much do you need? And this is where almost everybody gets it wrong. Most finance people open their mouth and say 3 to 6 months of expenses. For a lot of you, that's $10,000, $15,000. You hear that number, your brain goes, yeah, never, and you close the tab. So forget it. That's not your first target. Your first target, the one that changes your life, is $1,000. That's it. Financial teacher Dave Ramsey calls it baby step 1, the starter emergency fund, and it's the single most important $1,000 you'll ever save. Why $1,000 and not more? Because $1,000 covers the stuff that actually happens. It buys a set of tires or an alternator. It covers a pediatrician visit, an ER copay, a broken laptop you need for work. It was never meant to cover everything. It's meant to turn what used to be a full-blown crisis into a minor inconvenience. That's the whole magic sentence, so let it land. A starter emergency fund turns a heart attack into a headache. The disaster still happens. It just stops being a disaster. Now get the mindset right, because this is where people mess it up. This money is not savings. It's not for a trip. It's not for a sale. It's not extra you invest to chase returns. Think of it like a fire extinguisher bolted to the wall. You're not excited about it. You don't play with it. You hope you go years without touching it. But the day your kitchen's on fire, you will thank God it's there. Your emergency fund is a fire extinguisher for your bank account, boring on purpose, powerful when it counts. Okay, where do you actually put $1,000? Not under your mattress, that's just begging to spend it. Not in your regular checking account, because money in checking always finds a reason to leave. And not invested in stocks or crypto. This money has one job, and that job is to be there in full on the worst day of your month. It can't be down 20% the week you need it. What you want is boring, safe, and separate. What you want is a high-yield savings account. Here's why a high-yield savings account, a HYSA, is the perfect home for this. Your big brick-and-mortar bank pays you around 0.01% on savings. That's 10 cents a year on $1,000. A high-yield savings account right now in 2026 pays somewhere around 4 to 5%. That's not a typo. That's 400 to 500 times more for the exact same money. It's still federally insured up to $250,000, so it's just as safe. The money's still yours, still liquid. It just takes a day or 2 to transfer to your checking. And honestly, that tiny delay is a feature. It's just enough friction to stop a 2 a.m. impulse buy, but fast enough for a real emergency, and put a separate bank between you and this account on purpose. Different app, different login, out of sight. Because the number one threat to your emergency fund isn't a real emergency. It's you, on a Friday, deciding a concert counts as an emergency. It doesn't. We'll get to what actually counts. But the setup does half the work. Money you can't see easily is money you don't spend casually. Now, the question you've been waiting to ask, the one that makes people quit before they start. That's cute, Professor, but where do I find $1,000 when I'm already broke? Here's the truth that's going to sting a little. You're probably already spending it. You just spend it in pieces so small you never feel them leave. Remember last episode? The leaks? That's your emergency fund cut into 100 tiny invisible slices and handed to DoorDash. Let's do the math on those leaks. The average person drops over $200 a month on subscriptions they mostly forgot about. One guy tracked a year of food delivery and spent $4,700, and that alone is almost 5 starter funds. And more than half of Gen Z is leaning on buy now, pay later, where nearly half of users miss a payment and eat late fees. You don't need a raise. You need to grab one slice of what's already leaking and point it at a savings account instead. Redirect $200 a month, and you've got your $1,000 in 5 months flat. And here's the trick that makes it actually work. Pay yourself first automatically before your brain gets a vote. The day your paycheck lands, an automatic transfer yanks a set amount into that HYSA. Before rent, before coffee, before you even open the app. Because if you wait to save whatever's left over, there's never anything left over. There's always a leftover reason to spend it. Even $25 a week automated is $1,300 in a year without you thinking about it once. Set it and forget it. That's the leak running in reverse. Want it faster? Stack a few one-time moves on top. Sell the stuff in your closet you haven't touched in a year. That's the easiest $300-$400 most people are literally sitting on. Do one weekend of overtime or one gig and send every dollar straight to the fund. Run a 7-day no-spend sprint where you eat what's already in your fridge. And when a tax refund or a birthday 100 shows up, don't treat yourself. Feed the fund first. Stack 2 or 3 of those, and $1,000 stops being a someday and becomes a this month. So let's make it real. I'm not going to let you nod at this video and change nothing. I've got a challenge, and it's not homework. It's a dare. I call it the $1,000 sprint. 4 steps. You start tonight. You're not trying to get rich. You're trying to build the one buffer that means life can't knock you back to zero. Grab your phone. Step 1 tonight, open a high-yield savings account. It's free. It takes about 10 minutes on your phone, and you can do it while this video plays. Pick one that's a different bank than your checking, so it's out of sight. Nickname the account. Call it the 1,000. Call it Do Not Touch. Call it whatever makes you smile. The target is $1,000. Now it's real, and it's got a home. Step 2, automate one transfer. Go into your paycheck or your bank app and set a recurring transfer into that account for the same day you get paid. Start with a number that doesn't scare you. 25, 50, whatever you won't miss. The amount matters way less than the automation. You're building a habit that runs without your willpower, because willpower is exactly what runs out at 11 p.m. on a Friday. Step 3, seed it this week. Don't wait for the slow drip to be your only move. Find one leak to cut right now, cancel the subscription you haven't opened in a month, and find one thing to sell by Sunday. Take that money and drop it into the 1,000 today. Watching that balance jump from 0 to 150 in week 1 is the thing that keeps you going. Momentum is the real currency here. Step 4 is the rule that protects everything. Don't touch it unless it's a real emergency. And a real emergency has to be all 3 things: unexpected, necessary, and urgent. A car repair, you need to get to work, all 3. A sale, a concert, a vacation, 0 out of 3. Those come from a different pot. If you raid your fire extinguisher every time you get bored, you've got no fire extinguisher. Guard this money like it's the last thing standing between you and the credit card. Because it is. Now let me show you the other side, because this is what it's all actually for. It's a few months from now, your car makes that noise, the bad one, and you feel your stomach drop out of pure habit. And then you remember. You've got it. You open the app, you move the money, you pay the mechanic, and you drive home. No credit card, no 4 easy payments, no 2 a.m. spiral, no text to your mom asking for money again. The thing that used to ruin your entire month is now a slightly annoying Tuesday. That's not a fantasy. That's just what $1,000 in the right account buys you. It buys you the ability to be calm. So let's bring it home. You're not broke because you don't earn enough. You're broke because you have no buffer, and the buffer is $1,000 in a high-yield savings account you don't touch. It turns disasters into inconveniences. It breaks the borrowing loop that's been quietly keeping you poor, and you don't find the money by earning more. You find it by pointing your existing leaks at a savings account and automating the whole thing. So your willpower never has to show up. One number, one account, 30 days. Start the $1,000 sprint tonight. Open the account before you close this app, because the version of you that acts in the next 10 minutes is the one who actually breaks the cycle. Drop a comment and tell me the nickname you gave your account. I read them, and it tells me you actually did it. And subscribe, because now that you've got a buffer, next time we go on offense, we build the plan that wipes out the debt you already have. Fastest win first, so it never grows back. I'm Professor Brooks. Class dismissed. Go open that account.